DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Oh, no.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Wedding Chat with Jeremy Breck and Dave Ternier.
Evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello.
Jeremy, where are you?
I am at the I'm at our lake house, and I'm not enjoying the nice weather. We just got dumped on with snow, so it's not like I'm enjoying lake weather. I'm working on some stuff at the lake house, so that's where I'm at. And yes, you're right. I do not have internet connection. I am lucky to even hit 56 up kilobytes. That is. So, but you know what? That is the beauty of the lake house. I don't have to be available, and I can just kind of disconnect. So that's the nice thing.
Well, to catch everybody up to speed here, Reggie wants to know how much snow did you get, Jeremy?
We just got not near as much as what the East Coast got. I think we ended up getting about 5 inches, so it wasn't bad. But when it's after Easter and it's technically spring, that's not good.
That's true. Well, just so that he doesn't have to remain silent for too much longer here. So to explain to everybody, we do have a special guest on our show tonight. And the reason we do is because when Jeremy messaged John and I earlier today, he's like, he'll be out at the lake. It's like dial up out there. We're like, dial up? Well, there's no way you're going to have enough connection to get on this call.
What's dial up?
Yeah. So I asked a dear friend here in Canada, many of you maybe saw him spin at Mobile Beat at the Takeover last year as well. Stefan Jez from Montreal is with us here tonight in case Jeremy's connection dies off. But if Jeremy's connection stays on, then you all have the beauty of this trifecta of great people, at least these two and me. Anyway, Stefan, welcome.
Hey.
Stefan runs a company in Montreal, Quebec called Uptown Express. And there goes Jeremy's video.
Sorry.
Back.
I accidentally put it in driving mode. I didn't even know there was a driving mode.
Nice. Jeremy has half a mohawk. Never noticed that. Scott Russo enjoys your half mohawk. Anyway, tonight is a live Q&A, performance, wedding-related topics. If anybody has any questions, please add them into the chat in the YouTube feed or in the Facebook feed. I know there are folks watching both, so I'm doing my best to monitor both of those chats. Let's go from there. But I don't know. Should we quiz our special guest here a little bit first, Jer, just to let people get to know who he is? And we'll start the questions.
I think that's what it's all about. I mean, we need to grill him and, basically like Frosh. I don't know.
Good boy.
Well, see, I know many things about him. So, Jeremy, you're the person that maybe knows a little less about Stefan. So what do you want to know about Stefan? What would you ask him?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of people that probably don't know too much about what you do, Stefan. So are you Serato or virtual DJ?
Hey, here we go.
I am option C, neither. I'm Recordbox Pioneer.
Oh, Recordbox conversion.
Yeah.
It's funny because Dave and I were just talking about it, a couple shows ago. Like, I wonder how many people are actually diving into Recordbox and how many people are really saying, Recordbox is the new software. So you like Recordbox?
I've been on Rekordbox since it came out, actually. So I think I got my CDJs like 6-7 years ago, and since I got them, I've been on it, and I've been on it since. I just love it. I really do.
Interesting.
So what were you Serato before then?
No, I was virtual before that. So
Okay. So what are some of the biggest differences? What do you like about Rekordbox compared to virtual?
well, that could be a long story, but I'll try to keep it short. So before it looks the way it looks now, it looks like a lot of the softwares that we know, the layout and everything. But before it got to where it is now, it really started out as just like a database, essentially, for your library. Very simple, just to support your queues and all those points and just keep things organized. And when I was using my CDJs, I wanted to kind of perform more old school fashion, not looking at my laptop anymore. And so Rekordbox was the software that the CDJs came with, the 2000s at the time, and got used to using it. And so the Rekordbox was there just to be the interface to your hard drive. You could search, get your songs, and just drag them onto the CDJs and then perform. But you'd have all your cue points and all that stuff there. It was ultra simple. It was just super simple. So they call that export mode. And so that's the mode I've been using for like so long. And then so I've seen the product change all the way to today. They have it in performance mode, which is very much looking like Serato or virtual or whatever, like all those things.
Yeah.
And but still, I like the look of it. The dark colors. It just looks very clean and professional. It's and a couple of extra little features here and there, but it goes so well with all the Pioneer products, which I use. So for me, everything maps super simple, and those are the reasons why I use it.
Very cool. Okay. So next question: Mac or PC?
Both. I have one of each. So I'd say my primary is PC, but I have Mac backups, so I go back and forth.
Wait. Did I just meet a DJ who carries Macs for a backup solution?
So here's the long story here too. I have so many long stories. I'll keep it short here too. I have this Mac that I got, I swear to God, a year ago, and it's going to become my primary, but I haven't done the work to make it my primary yet. So it's still the backup, And
let me help you out. There's a power button. All you got to do, push the button.
Push it? That's how it works? So,
Oh, outstanding.
I have a hard time changing the like my technology that I use that no one really can tell, like the laptop. No one knows what I'm using. So the one I have, it works. Everything's good. It's all great. So it's a crutch to move away from that.
Right.
So I have the new one. It's there. It's set up with the backup stuff, and it's plugged in at events for backup purposes, always running. But I wanna flip it, to have it be the main.
For sure. Outstanding. And just so everyone knows, by the way, Stefan, you are a single op company, yeah?
I am, yes.
You are a single op company. Got it. In Montreal. Specializing what is weddings?
Weddings.
Most if you
Specializing in weddings, yeah.
Like
Exactly.
is what revenue from weddings is what? 50%, 80%, 90%? What's
90%, I'd say. 90% at this point. Yeah. It's been a few years now where I've really been concentrating on weddings and focusing on doing weddings. It's what I really love to do. And I get the odd other thing, birthday party or small little jobs, but really it's weddings.
Sure.
Cool.
So we do have a first question from the chat. Stefan, what kind of toothpaste do you use?
Ooh, I have sensitive teeth.
I have never had the toothpaste debate. Where's this coming from?
Sensitive teeth. So I use Sensodyne.
Sensodyne. You heard it here, folks. You got teeth like Stefan, Sensodyne toothpaste is where it's at.
And
Sensodyne.
that is the chat for tonight. Thanks for joining us.
See ya.
Now know the toothpaste.
Sensodyne will be
So, Stefan, when did you start, and how did you start? How did you get your start?
Like the real, like the beginning of all DJing.
Like, I think I want to be a DJ to, hey, I'm going to be a business, to where you are now.
Whew, okay, so that's a good story. I like this story. So I was in high school. I think I was maybe 15. It was in in Canada, secondary 4 or 5. And so that's like the second to last year of high school. I loved music. I always liked it, all that stuff. And my dad had this awesome stereo, and it was really expensive back then, and it had a record player on it. And I remember as a kid, he had all these old records, and those little, the little cars and stuff. I would put that on the record, and like the record would play, and I put the car, and the car would be driving on it, and my dad never saw that. So I was always playing with this awesome stereo. But anyway, so my younger sister, who's 2 years younger, was turning, I guess it was her 13th birthday, or I don't know what, but she was having a birthday party, and we were going to do it in the basement at our house. And she was inviting like 20 friends or whatever. And I had like, an amazing idea. Mom and Dad, I'm going to play the music for the party. Like, I can do it. Like, we have 2 tape decks, and you have this record player, and I'll go and buy a couple of records, and we'll manage, we'll play some stuff. And I've been collecting tapes and CDs already because I loved all that stuff. And so we put it together, my friend and I, Alfredo, and I think I posted a Throwback Thursday not too long ago, this table with wires everywhere, 2 tape decks and a record player and a humongous fan to cool down the amp and stuff. And from that party, it was awesome. I mean, we made it work. It was so fun. I got the itch from that point to want to do that, and then going to the record store, so in my teen years started. Then I told my friends, hey, I can do this. Started doing some house parties for all my friends in high school. Started doing some other high school house parties, did some high school dances. Fast forward a couple of years, now I'm doing some family functions for different friends, their communions or whatever, different family events, birthday parties, stuff like that. And then one of my really good friends at the time, her sister was getting married, and they said, you have to be the DJ for our wedding. So that was my first wedding. Cool. And that was probably a couple of years after high school. So I'm probably like 20 now. And
nice. Very cool.
God, I can't even remember what we did, but I mean, it went really well and everything, but it was nothing like we would want to do now. But so that's how I got into it. And then I loved that. I just loved that.
Yeah.
And then kept on just going from there, really, and then as I got a little bit older, in my mid-20s, I really sat down and said, okay, this is something we need to focus on more from a business standpoint, and, officially, build the business and all that stuff and start that side of it. And then worked on the branding and the marketing and this and that, and kind of focusing on what I want to do. I was still kind of all over the place at that time, taking, all kinds of gigs, all kinds of things. And then it was Mobile Beat so my first Mobile Beat was like 7 years ago, maybe. After going to my first Mobile Beat, that's when I really knew, okay, it's weddings, full steam ahead. And that's what opened the floodgates to all the different kind of trainings and workshops and stuff that I've discovered and taken that have helped me focus my attention to what I love to do, which is weddings. So that's how we got to today.
You know what,
Nice.
Jeremy? We should have Stefan on here one night for the sole purpose of branding your wedding business. Stefan, if there's one thing that I think a lot of folks here in Canada at least know about you, is your branding is on point. The videos you've produced and stuff, I don't even know if Jeremy has seen a lot of them, but they're really amazing, dude, and you deserve credit for that. So if anybody is curious, check out Uptown Express on Facebook. You've got some really amazing stuff, and we could probably do a whole show themed around that when it comes to branding for a wedding.
Your DJ skills suck, but your branding, oh my God.
Hey,
No. Anybody who was at Mobile Beat in 2017 who saw this guy Stefan throw down that 90s set, dude,
right.
This man's skills need no defending. Let's just say that.
That was epic. That was awesome.
So
that was just amazing.
We do have a couple of questions here in the chat.
Hold on. I have a very pressing question, and I want everybody to post in the messages as well. I want everyone to post their answer. Stefan, what was your first CD you ever bought?
DJ Line Volume 1. So I don't know, Canadians might know that. So DJ Line Volume 1, they had like 20, 30 volumes, and they would come out one or two a year. And it had all the club songs, like the Euro 90 stuff that was coming out at that time. So guys in the Montreal area will know MC Mario, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, MC Mario Mixdown.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that, but pre that, there was this line of CDs called DJ Line, and it was just, I have all of them. So,
Huh. Dave, what was yours?
Well, the first CD I was given, we've talked about that before. The first CD I bought, I remember the first cassette I bought.
But I mean, like, you didn't use cassettes when you were in your DJ business.
Well, no, but I bought CDs long before I ever started DJing.
Okay, but what was your first ever CD?
Dude, holy God. You know, I need to find out the answer to this question. God, it might be an embarrassing answer. I know there was a Leanne Rimes in the first 10.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That is pretty embarrassing.
God, what else was in there? I was hardcore into country back then. So whatever was hot on the country charts, that's what I would buy, which is not a topic I want to get into with Jeremy. Let me tell you, Stefan, right now. Country music, Jeremy, like oil and water.
Yeah. Don't take me there.
What was your first CD?
My first CD that the first CD that I was given was Firehouse, the very first Firehouse CD.
Got it.
The first CD I ever bought was Michael Jackson's Dangerous.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. With black and white and the song from Free Willy. I mean, I used to love that disc.
Nice. Dangerous. I think that it's the Dangerous tour that is his most famous one that you can find on DVD live in Bucharest, right?
Probably, yeah.
I own that one. It's epic.
That's when he was like, that's when he was like on top of his game. I mean, that's when he was touring, and it shows all these girls fainting and all this stuff. Probably, Dave, you probably fainted.
That's exactly how the show starts. Is you have to see this DVD. It's dark. The stage is dark. And then there's this big explosion on stage, and he sparks, and poof, there stands Michael Jackson, head down like this, and he stays frozen until the crowd brings their volume down. I think it's literally the first 2 or 3 minutes of the show. He's standing absolutely still while people. You're right. There were some girls just like literally going like this and falling over. I mean,
it's what we did at the wedding.
Well, I was just gonna say it's kind of like the weddings that I work at. I mean, close. I mean. Anyway, so one of the questions we have in the chat here is planning meetings. How do each of you handle them? Your process, specifically, how many, how long are the meetings, and does the DJ working the event manage their own for those in a multi-op situation like yourself, Jeremy? So, Stefan, let's each take 3 or 4 minutes to answer this question. How long are your meetings? How many of them do you do? Cole's Notes version of what that looks like.
Sure. So usually I have at least one meeting before we actually sign with them. So that meeting's about, let's say there's an inquiry that comes in, I meet with them. That lasts about an hour. Sometimes it's 45 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour and a half if we really hit it off and start chatting. But that hour, we're just talking and chatting and going over a whole bunch of things. Assuming they book with me, we then keep in touch by email and that kind of stuff. But usually it's one big planning meeting about a month before their wedding was what I do with them. And at this planning meeting, I've already sent them a couple of things to fill out and to read and to look at for some planning purposes or their love story or different types of things. So that planning meeting is usually about 90 minutes. It used to be about an hour, but now it takes a bit more than that because we really get into a lot of detail as much as possible for all the things that they're going to do. At this meeting,
is that your sales meeting or is that your planning meeting?
This is now the planning meeting. So the sales meeting is the first one, which is about an hour. We just talk general things, talk about options, what they're looking for, what do they want, and then of course we get into pricing and all those things.
Give me your money. It's the give me your money meeting. Got it.
Exactly. Give me your money. I'm pretty good, And so once they book, about a month or 2 before the wedding, we have another in-person meeting. And this is where we go through the whole planning process. I have a template kind of thing that I suggest. This is kind of a good flow for the evening. What do you think? How do you want to do things? Where do you want to put things in? They'll say, yeah, we want to do some dancing. We want to do a game. We want to do this. We want to do that. We'll find the flow that they want to create, and then I'll make suggestions. So we put all that in. We talk about their music. Where does that have to go? We talk about timing of certain things, what has to go where. I get some details about the people we'll be talking about, so we'll discuss about them, so I kind of know a bit more what to say about all that stuff. I have that in their kind of pamphlet that I've given them. I've asked them to fill out some information about their family and their friends and those things, so I have extra detail that I can use after this meeting while I'm doing my own prep. So that's pretty much how that goes. And then they talk, they ask me their questions and any worries or any things about music that they want to cover. So that's about a 60 to 90 minute meeting. If we're doing any type of like audio edit or love story or something like that with a couple, I'll have another meeting a few months before that so we can do those recordings and do all that stuff. So I have plenty of time to put it together before the final meeting in case I have to go and do something again or whatnot.
Got it. So one main planning session with the other one possible depending on creative elements being involved.
Exactly. And it's always with me. So I'm a single op, right? And so that's how I sell myself. I sell my services that they'll always be dealing with me. So these meetings are with me personally. Yeah. And then I'm the one obviously performing for them at their event.
And by the way, shout out to our buddy Neil from Nitro Music in Brantford, Ontario, who asked this question. So Jeremy, what's your process look like in a nutshell? Similar, different?
Well, Stefan, I don't know if you noticed, but Dave was taking a couple drinks there. Anytime you say the word he takes a drink. So by the end of the show, he's usually pretty wasted. The process that I have, I do the sales meeting. So I do the initial getting to know them type thing. And then if they book myself, they work specifically with me. If they book one of my other individuals, they're welcome to meet with myself to go over creative, which means more lighting design, more outside of performance, more production. So they're welcome to visit with me anytime. If they have questions, even in performance, if they say, hey, we want to do this for our wedding, or we have a couple questions on songs, I'm always available. I'm always there to answer questions for people if they book myself or if they book one of my entertainers. The amount of meetings we have is completely up to that couple or up to that individual. There's times where we'll book them and they don't need to talk to us until the finalization meeting. And then we have couples that are like, hey, we're going, and actually I did a setup. It was about an hour away from Sioux Falls, and the location, which I had never been to, was a new location. I had a lot of people, or I have a lot of couples that are booked for that venue. And they asked me, what do you think on lighting design? I'm like, well, I'm not just going to tell you that uplighting is going to be the answer. Yes, I can sell you uplighting, but I need to really look at the venue. So on my way back, I went and visited the venue and, did a site visit for those individuals. So, there's always kind of meetings that happen here and there, whether it's, again, for myself or one of my employees. We kind of look at it as a company and as a whole. We're all a team. And we're always there to help each other out. We're always there to make sure that we're all on the same page. And my guys, they're welcome to meet with our couples as many times as they want. We have a couple of our guys who are at the, I guess you could say, the higher end of our business, or the top tier of our business. Those guys usually like to meet with their couples a little bit often or more often, because they put a lot more personalization. And that's exactly why they do cost more, is because they are willing to put in extra time, extra effort, and really create an experience for our couples. So there isn't really a magic number. We don't say in our contract, you get up to 2 meetings. We really want to be there for our couples and our clients. So we make sure that we're available as many times, as long as we have to. And no matter what, we're still going to finalize everything. No matter how many times we meet with them, we're going to finalize a month before. And then for sure, we're going to finalize the week going into, just making sure that all the information that we've gone over for the last however many months is exactly what we initially talked about.
Right. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of in between the two of you. I 2 main planning sessions with me, one 5 to 6 months out, and then the final one 1 to 2 months out. And then often there's a 30-ish minute phone call meeting in between those 2 main ones. I got long-winded. My meeting's gonna be 2 hours long, easy. And that's in part by design, because I really want to, as I've said in the past, I want to blur the relationship. I want to blur the line between is he hired or is he a family friend? I want to blur that as much as possible. So I enjoy spending a lot of time on this so that, you know, come wedding day, you know, I'm not faking anything. The friendship I have with them is pretty authentic. But yeah, Neil, hopefully that answers your question. There's a pile of questions popping up here now, so I'm gonna try to bang through a few more of them. Scott asked, did you see my question earlier, Dave? Scott, Carol, by the way, not Scott Russo. I know there's a few Scots watching. I think your question, Scott Carroll, was about setting up a charging station at wedding to help guests. You know, that is something I'm getting. Stefan, are you getting that these days?
I've seen some posts about that. I get requests every single time, you know, someone will come up and I'll take the one phone and I'll plug it in. I thought I would get one, but then I've decided not to get one. You know, yeah, let's just keep it short and simple. I've thought about it and I'm not going to. If someone comes up to me and they very nicely ask, I'll gladly plug it in. I have no problem with that. But to put up a charging station at the moment, I'm not convinced.
Yeah, the word liability comes to mind for me.
Yeah, I
don't want someone to go missing in my possession because they're not pissed off at anybody now but me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't normally dwell on the negative side of things, but I just don't see an upside that overdoes that. Anyway, so I don't do it, but much the same as Stefan. Someone comes up nicely, sure, I'll plug their phone in, whatever. Jeremy, you?
Yeah, I typically just tell people, no, I can't help them out, and I don't have a charging station. I'm not a charging station. And the reason being is because I actually had one time someone had their phone plugged in and it was into my Furman, and they went to unplug it and they unplugged my microphone. So ever since then, I'm like, yeah, I don't want anybody, you know, reaching back there to unplug their phone or grab their charger or whatever it is. I don't even want to mess with that anymore. And I think it was kind of a too late. I mean, granted, it was just a microphone, but still, I mean, if that was my board, if that was my computer, if that was, I guess the computer would have been fine, but it could have been worse.
You know, this has made me think of something. And by the way, I'm gonna do a quick shout out to everybody that wrote in their first album here, because there's some great first CDs they bought. But just before we get there,
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, you know what? So I just typed into Google here, personalized power banks for cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is Canadian dollars. For $370, you can get 25 personalized power banks. Stefan, get them logoed, branded up. People come up and say, hey, I need to plug my phone in. Tell you what, here you go. Have a great evening.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
boom, no liability. They have something. They're going to look at your business name all the time.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah, and then the other.
And I mean, that's
the other
125 of them. That's 372 Canadian. So that's like $100 American, Jeremy. So come on, cough up the back.
Okay, but still, that's a very expensive business card, because as soon as you hand one out, yeah, that's great branding. But now the other 100 guests who have cell phones are like, hey, I want one of those. I want one of those. $800 later, everybody's now satisfied.
Okay. So,
and you made
hold up. No, hold up. It's how you do it. So someone comes up, hey, can I plug my, tell you what, I only have a couple of these, but if you'd like, I'll give you one. Now
I'll tell you where to put your cell phone.
Yeah.
Anyway, if anybody starts doing that, you can thank me later. I'm gonna look into this, you guys.
And please make sure you message in the messages. I would love to see how that turns out for whoever does come up with it, or whoever does that.
I'm going to seriously consider this. Anyway, Adam Garrison.
We actually handed those out to a bunch of the wedding professionals in our area with our logos and everything. And we did a little gift basket that basically was like, here, you know, it had a little key and everything. I'll have to show you this sometime. It had a key like, you know, we know that you run long days and your phone dies. So here's a cell phone backup battery. We know that it's a long day. You need your coffee to kick the day off. Here's a Starbucks card. And basically just came up with a little gift basket, and we gave those out to a bunch of people. But again, that to me, I think you're going to be a lot better off, because if you're doing, what, say 30, 60 weddings a year, 100 weddings, 200 weddings a year, and you're passing out 25 per wedding, that's a lot. That's a lot of power banks.
I don't get asked 25. I get asked like once a wedding, maybe.
Right. But what I'm saying is, as soon as someone says, this guy just gave me this thing, then people are like, well, I want one.
But I'm going to only tell them I've only got one or two.
It's still very expensive. I mean,
Okay, so here's what you do. Someone says, hey, I need to plug this in. You say to them, doesn't your boyfriend or husband have a power bank? And they'll then tell you.
It's going to sound like you're putting them up.
Their answer. So if they're single, then you give them the power bank.
Okay, yeah.
If they're married or whatever, you say, I'm sorry, I got nothing for you.
You sound like you're trying to pick somebody up. You're like, are you single? Here's a power bank. Oh my gosh.
Oh, good. Okay, so some shout outs to first albums. Adam Garrison, CNC Music Factory, Gonna Make You Sweat.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
Chris Cooper, the first CD I bought was either Van Halen's Van Halen album or the Kinks' Greatest Hits. Okay. Other first albums. I don't feel so bad now about maybe the Leanne Rimes thing, which it wasn't my first album. It was a top 10.
You can't get out of it now.
I can't get out of it now. Let's see. Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet. Sweet Comfort Band.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Sweet Comfort Band. I don't know them. Scott Russo, Jeremy, I don't know them.
I don't know that, no.
Blues Traveler.
Look.
Nice. No, I'm not sure.
I love Blues Traveler.
Do you? Chris Shepard, Disc 1, Toronto radio DJ. Yeah. Chris Shepard. Was Chris Shepard big in the U.S., Jeremy, or not? You ever heard of him?
I've never heard of him.
Chris Shepard. That was a lot of fun. Martin Pilon. Martin is watching. Stefan, do you want to guess what Martin's first album was? Martin and Stefan know each other pretty well. This is hilarious.
Oh boy, I don't.
Is it Justin Bieber?
Let's see. I got to hear it.
Alana Miles.
Oh yeah.
On it.
Awesome.
Wow. William Winters, the Eagles. Lots of fun stuff. Steppenwolf, Scott Russo, 8-track. Steppenwolf. His first 8-track was Steppenwolf. My goodness. Okay.
Did you guys ever get caught up in those like BMG, like buy 12 CDs for a penny, and then we're gonna rip you off for $1,000 to get 2 more?
Dave, in Canada, it was Columbia House.
Yeah,
right?
House. Columbia House.
Yeah, I had Columbia House. Yep.
Subscribed like 10 times. Like
I think I did one of their things maybe, but I don't remember if I really. I don't know.
Yeah, I got screwed over. I mean, obviously that's their whole scheme. That's what they do. But they're like, here's the disc of the month that I don't know. Apparently, you got a disc of the month that you had to pay for. And it was like $35 for the CD. And I remember getting it. It was Richard Marx. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with Richard Marx?
Oh. Yeah. Amazing question here for us to discuss.
Uh-oh.
Lauren Miller.
Richard Marx?
No, Richard Marx. Oh, my. Great question. So, first wedding of the season for me this Saturday. I'm really trying to work on my hosting this year. Can you guys talk about your mindset going in, even when you don't feel like being social? Your head's just not in the space. What do you do about the event, or what do you do to get yourself into that space? A great question. Really good question, Lauren.
Okay, so my question first is, when you say hosting, are you talking as the master of ceremonies? Is that what they're thinking?
Let's assume that, because there's a slight delay on the live feed to what they see. So yeah, let's assume that.
So as the master of ceremonies, I guess the next question would be, what makes you feel not social? And what do you feel like you have to do as an MC to be social? Those would be my next questions.
Okay, well, I'll be Lauren in this case. Dude, I just don't feel great. I had a fight with my other half this morning. I came into setup, just pissed right off.
Okay. So I guess my feedback would be you have to, I saw a presentation from a gal that worked at MGM Grand in Las Vegas. And she always said, as soon as you step out of your car, you are front and center. You are on stage. And I think you have to check everything at the door. It doesn't matter what you do. You can yell as loud as you want in your car when you're driving to the place, whatever you have to do to blow off steam. But once you are there, you have to be on stage. You have to be ready to go. I know that's not always easy. I always hear about these people that, they're in the middle of a show and all of a sudden they get a phone call or they get a text message saying a grandparent died or somebody passed away. Right. They have to stay in that zone. You have to stay with it. So I guess the biggest advice I could give is be in the moment of what's happening and let everything else just brush it off and put it off to the side for that time.
Right. Stefan, or do you want me to go first?
I'd say, well, no, I'll continue. One of the techniques that we learned at Entertainment Experience, I forget what he called it, but it's you verbalize all the
clear and create.
Yeah, that's right. So, you could do something like that where you just, you call someone up, or I guess you could do it to yourself too, or just out loud, but you just, all the things you're worrying about, just tell them to someone. If you have an assistant, say, just look, stand there for, 2 minutes and just listen to me and don't talk, but just listen to what I'm telling you. And you just go through what's worrying you. Oh, this person's home. I don't feel social. I'm really nervous. I'm worried I'm not going to say this right. I'm worried about my kids that are at home. It's supposed to snow at home. Oh my God, or whatever. All these things. Just kind of get it out of your head. And that way it helps you internally because now you've said it to someone and they absorb that. And then they tell you, okay. And, and it helps you kind of get it off your chest, so to speak. But apart from that, you have to be able to disconnect. You really do. Like Jeremy said, once you get there, it's, the way I look at it is, this is, so some people often think, oh, every wedding is the same thing because we're doing the same thing over and over. Hopefully you're not. But for this couple, for this family, for these people, it could be their first wedding that they've been to in 10 years. Mm-hmm. It could be the first wedding in a year or whatever. So to me, like, I have to make that happen for them. And you just start smiling. Just start smiling and just talk to a couple of people. You'll kind of start to get into their family groove or their friend groove or whatever during cocktails. Just go and say, hi, how was the ceremony? Or how was the drive to the reception or whatever? Just try to get into the mindset of what's happening. Mm-hmm. And yeah, but just you practice disconnecting a little, just let it all go. That stuff will be there when you finish the gig. But for now, you got to concentrate on kind of what's happening, what's going on, smile as big as you can smile, and just have fun. You really just have to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. There's been some catch up in the conversation here. Lauren says, I'm an introvert and, that's part of my struggle. Lauren, reach out to me privately or Jeremy, or just search for all of the shows Jeremy and I have done. But we actually did a show on this where we talk about being an introvert and
deep inside, we're all introverts.
Yeah, Lauren, it may surprise you, but Jeremy and I, super introverts, and Bill Herman as well, maybe one of the most outspoken people I know. But this will surprise you. Anyway, that's a show. Reach out to me if you can't find it. I'll send you the link. I think I was going to bring up the clear and create exercise that you brought up, Stefan, so I'm glad you did.
Right.
Lauren, I hope that was a little bit helpful, although if this has to do with being an introvert, that's maybe a different thing than when your head's not in the space. I think for me personally, I do get those feelings leading up to a wedding sometimes, and it takes sometimes until the very second the first words come out of my mouth and in through a microphone it sometimes takes up until that moment for me to get really into it. And I realize that may not be, I should be into it before then. And I'm not perfect, far from it. But I think what's probably helped me out most is been taking the performance training that I've taken over the last number of years has developed, you know, the introverted Dave into this Dave 2.0 that most people in our industry know now, which is not how I'm natively wired. Again, go into that show to talk about it, or to hear more about that. I think what maybe is the topic of conversation here is maybe just confidence.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
It is just to whatever skill level you're at, just do that to the best that you can do, and own it, right? And own it, right? Don't feel like, oh, I'm not this, I'm not that, whatever. Just, they hired you because they liked you, because you offer something that they want. So whatever level that is, just own it. Be confident, and that confidence shows. It shows in your face, it shows in your smile, it shows in the way you stand, it shows in like so many ways, right? So yes, once you're there, you're on stage, you have to project that confidence.
Yeah. I would also say, and this might sound funny, and Jeremy, I know you and Stefan have both taken my Rebecca workshops, so you'll know what I'm talking about, but I don't know if you guys do this or not, but the warm-up exercises that Mark does in the workshops, doing your vowels from way down here, and the rubber baby bangy bumpers, all those tongue twisters, I do all of those. I have them on my checklist, lip buzzing immediately before cocktail hour starts, so that I get, and I think even just the very act of doing that helps me transition from, I was whatever before I got here, and now I'm transitioning into, this is the person I need to be for tonight. And I guess maybe I've never really thought about it, but maybe more than just doing what it's doing to me physically, which is of course the purpose to it, maybe it's doing something mentally to me that I didn't realize. The very act of doing that maybe helps transition me into, okay, Dave, you're on, like you said, Stefan, this is the wedding for this family. This is not just another weekend. This is the wedding.
The one.
Yeah.
That could be your body signal giving you endorphins, basically triggering you, saying, like you said, okay, I hit this point in my evening, I'm doing these warm-ups, which now means I'm ready to check in, I'm ready to take off. And Lauren, I don't know, maybe cannabis is legal or not in your area, but that might, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Do not get yourself caught up in but I mean, truthfully, if you're looking for something just to kind of give you that natural energy, just drink some caffeine. If you just stay off of caffeine for a couple days, and then when you go into your show, if you need something to really just kind of give you a boost, try it. I mean, just try try having caffeine off for a couple days, and then try some caffeine, and it'll pick you up, and maybe give you that boost of energy you might need. Who knows? I'm not a caffeine drinker, so I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
Well, caffeine does dehydrate you, so if you're going to be depending on your voice, you may or may not want to consume that right before performing.
Yeah, true.
Can you tell I had some coffee about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago?
No, I'm not telling you to go smoke weed.
Yeah, it's this is a really great question, Lauren. She says, by the way, guys, that was great. Thanks. Just saved me going to Vegas 3 more times. Maybe Mobile Beat can offer some performance training in the future. Yeah, Lauren, I know Brian. Jeremy, I just called you Brian. Outstanding. Shout out to Brian Podwerny, dear friend of mine who lives just half an hour south of me here. Jeremy and I have done shows before here on the performance training workshops that we've taken that have dramatically impacted us, and looking up those shows. And again, reach out to me personally, Dave Ternier on Facebook, I'm easy to find, and I'll send you the direct links to that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, not that I don't want people to not go to Mobile Beat, but I think there is a point at which, if it's a choice between Mobile Beat or a workshop, I think there's a point where you have to say no to the Mobile Beats or whatever out there, and you've got to try some of these intensive workshops, because they're really, I don't know, you guys, I mean, they do stuff for you in the moment, and then it's sometimes years later you realize actually what they've done for you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't think you can find anything better than a workshop training. I think listening and being inspired in large format presentations, I think is fantastic. But the one-on-one, great job, but now try doing this, this, and this. And then try adding some of this into what you're doing, and then do that. Then you start thinking about it, and you start actually implementing things that are making you better in the moment, and then you take them back. And I mean, it's hard to say don't go to any of the conferences and conventions, because there's still, I mean, like we've talked about network, we've talked about, great presenters and inspiration, and there's a lot of great things out there. But is there anything like an actual full-on workshop? No. Workshops are more expensive, but you get what you pay for.
Oh, so true. So true. By the way, apologies, Lauren. One of us is referencing conversation, probably me, that Lauren was a girl. He says, I'm a dude. So Lauren, good on you. Laura, tips were great. Like the car.
I hope it wasn't me. Sorry.
Warm up, set aside good. Okay. Yeah, Scott Russo has mentioned, Marbecca, Bill Herman. Check those out. They're not easy, but nothing great comes easy. That's not supposed to be a mic drop word of wisdom from today. Right. Gary, Gary, sorry, man. That's you that Nokamue 1970. Gary Dunn. Gary's out in Toronto. We got a lot of Canadians watching tonight. Ooh, I wonder if we have more Canadians watching than Americans. Anyway, Gary's question is, what advice do you guys have?
It's because there's
for a DJ's first wedding. So let's wrap up. Stefan, you've got to go. You're in Eastern time zone. It's getting late out where you are.
Yeah, but now I'm all like, I could talk another hour, I'm sure.
What was the question? I missed it.
So let's end on this question. What advice would you guys have for a DJ's very first wedding?
Oh my God.
You want me to start?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know where to start.
So my advice for your very first wedding is be over accommodating, not just for the guests, the couple, but for the facility, for every single person who's involved. And don't remember that they come before even you do. So if you're like, oh, I don't like that song, you're gonna play that song anyways. And you're going to see how people react to you taking care of them and catering to them. And then you're going to know after your first wedding what you need to do for your second wedding and your third wedding. And you're going to make yourself that much better every single time after that.
Right. That's a good answer. I say we just stop there, Stefan.
Perfect. We don't want to overwhelm.
Yeah.
But that's excellent. I thought of my really quick tip here too, and depending on how much training as an MC you have or don't have, just keep things, if you're going to be doing MC work, keep things short and simple. Talk slowly on the microphone, and in this case, just to kind of get your feet going or get wet, whatever. Just be very direct, short and sweet, and that's it. Don't try to make rambling sentences. Just get in, get out, and get it done to kind of get that flow going.
Dave, this would actually be a really good conversation for next week. This would be because I would love to tell you about my first wedding. I would love to tell you about this. People are going to be like, you did what? So I think I say we table this, and I apologize if whoever asked this question, if their first wedding is this weekend and they're hoping for the answers this week. But I would love to talk about this next week, and I would love to hear other people's conversations as well. And Stefan, man, you are welcome to join us again. We would love to have you back.
I would love it. This is really fun. I'm so thankful for the offer.
Outstanding. Yeah, I think this would be a great topic for next time. Sorry, I was trying to catch up with some more of the chat that's going on here. Ever since I said I think there's more Canadians watching tonight than Americans, people have literally piled on. Juicebox said it's the Canadian takeover. Yeah, I just
is John back? We should probably check to make sure John's even back. I don't even know what time it is.
John's back.
God is back. Okay, John, real quick, one thing I need to do before we head out is I promoted this in the CPDGA Facebook group earlier and said, hey, I have a special Canadian guest on the show tonight. Guess below who it is, and from all the correct answers, I will draw and I will send that person a book.
Okay.
So 2 people. So there were a lot of guesses as to who the guest would be. So John, maybe make note here that maybe these are people that folks want to see on the show. People guessed.
I saw. I followed that earlier today.
Did you?
Yeah,
okay,
and then how many times did Bill Herman write his name into that?
What a jerk!
I deleted those comments as fast as I could see them come up. But damn it, he was
he was quick.
Anyway, let's see. Jeremy, you would not have seen this thread. So here's what I'm going to do. I said I would draw from all the correct answers. So 2 people guessed the correct answer. One person's name starts with an M. The other person's name starts with a D.
Whichever Jeremy, one, the last name is the latter part of the alphabet. So the one that comes alphabetically second with their first letter, their last name. Who is that?
What?
I have no idea.
You have 2 names. You have 2 names.
I was just going to get Jeremy to pick one of those 2 letters.
Holy smokes, John.
Come on.
That was like, okay, so whoever can figure out the quadratic equation of the square root.
Oh, be quiet, bathroom boy.
As long as their kid's name starts with an F but ends with a T.
This is our first show ever broadcast from a bathroom. Come on now, man.
I've been hanging out with
the bathroom. I'm sitting on our little dinner bed.
John, I think you've been hanging out with Ben Stowe too long, getting way too
Okay, fine.
All right, so
Jeremy,
you have the first person and you have a second person.
Yeah, so 2 people guessed.
I'm going to pick the second person.
You're going to pick the second person that guessed it?
I'm going to pick the second person.
Oh, look at that. Congratulations to Martin Pylon from Cornwall, Ontario. Stefan Jez. Martin was the man who shared tonight that his first CD he ever bought was a Lana Miles album that had Black Velvet on it.
Ooh, that's bonus points.
Absolutely.
Lana Miles?
Yeah.
You don't know Lana Miles?
Jeremy, you might be a little young for that.
Oh, whoever that is, they need a book. They need a book.
All right, Martin, I'm going to be sending you your prize, sir. Thank you for participating. And Stefan, like Jeremy said, you were a blast having here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
John, did you hear our topic? Our topic for next week?
I've got it jotted down.
Awesome.
Right. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Have a good night.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insider.